Thank you, thank you. Maybe I'll start with David. David, welcome.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Yes.
It's such a great event.
Perhaps the first question to you then, how has businesses like yourself matured, right, over the years to really take advantage with the digital business strategies that you have?
You know, you can't really mention digital strategies without referring to COVID, because COVID fundamentally changed overnight how businesses look at the digital world. I mean, we went home. You had to just really execute in spite of that. But that shift, what it really did is it removed inhibitors. It removed the things that we all assumed prevented us from succeeding in a digital world, and it unlocked the ability to lean forward and think a little bit differently. And so as we think about the future from a digital strategy perspective, we really have to challenge ourselves and make sure that those inhibitors that we assume to be there are actually there. And make sure that we lean forward. For Cox, one of the main things that we did is we experimented. We immediately went to where we fully went digital auctions. We really drove a shift overnight, and then we were actually rolling some of that back because some of our customers want more of a hand-holding experience. And so I think the next evolution is not the massive shifts, it's the nuances, it's the little details that differentiate us from a digital perspective.
Thank you. Moving over to Japan, Akihito, could you give us your thoughts?
Thank you. So after the COVID-19 pandemic, actually it accelerates the company's digital strategy. We called it the new norm, especially in the telecom operator, everyone using digital technology for business. But it is important, I think it is important that the continuous improvement is the key to drive digital strategy. So it is because it is really hard to find out the right strategy for the digital future. So because the situation is changing, right? So from the social style and customer activities, everything's changing. So how to trace those kind of things, that is a really important thing after the pandemic, I think.
Tuan Pham, what are your thoughts and how are you looking at it?
I think this is a very classical topic, but because of the COVID, so it's make us have to action more quickly. So in terms of the FPT software, so we talk about the business resilience. So in any situation, we still be able to provide the service to our customer. And so for the customer, we not only talk about we support them to have operation excellence, but we can also support them to realize the new business initiative. So FPT is supporting our customer nowadays, not only for idea developments, but also for pilot the new initiative by applying in Asia or in Vietnam or in even our FPT ecosystem. So once it's proven with our ecosystem, so the customer can scale the business to the country-wise or to the region. So FPT supporting nowadays around hundreds of clients for the business transformation.
I like what you said at breakfast, because we had breakfast earlier, and he was saying that there was a couple of projects that you went into that had massive failures from other providers, and you went in there with one condition, that the transformation was going to have to be led by the business and by the CEO.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, we not only support external customer for transformation, but we also support other subsidiary company with this FPT group for transformation. And we got both success and failure. So that's why we have a lot of lesson, yeah, for transformation. And the very key important is transformation is for business. It's not for technologies. So the ultimate goal is for business transformation. Technologies enable the transformation, but the very important factor is the people transformation. If the people are not ready, so you should not expect very different outcome for the transformation.
Thank you. Alex, I'm going to move over to you. I'm just going to move over to this side, to my right side, and ask you the question on what are you seeing in industry when it comes to new business and operating models and how technology is playing a role?
Sure, that's a great question. I think that today business organizations need to have a workforce that can think for itself and can also make decisions and act in real time. And I think that, we talk about customer experience. I, come from the marketing world, so I kind of dwell on that. But the truth of the matter is, in able to do that, you actually have to give people the data that they need to be able to make those decisions in real time. And it's not just sharing information from top to bottom. It's more importantly cross-functionally. So for example, if we think about interacting with a customer today, it's not just about salespeople interacting. You have marketing communicating to them, you have salespeople selling, you have service, and finance and so on. And so if you really want to maintain this kind of high level of customer experience across each of those areas, you really need to have a 360-degree view of the customer, everyone. So for example, if sales knows what's going on with a service issue, they could actually solve a customer problem. If service has the sales history, they may be able to upsell a customer when they're speaking with them. And so I think this is what's happening, but to be able to do that, as I say, you have to have the single platform that delivers that data to everyone.
Tuan Pham, any comments?
I totally agree.
Fantastic. And Akihito?
Yes.
What do you think about that? Good? Maybe I'll pass it on to Frank. Frank, any thoughts?
No, I think that's a very nice comment and a very nice remark also. I will say I have not too much to add about those comments. And it's important that company really support the customers in order to move into this transformation. I like also a lot of customer centricity, so I would share exactly the same ideas.
Thank you. Now, we're also now in a period where it's a bit fragile, right? The economy is a bit fragile. We're hearing news from all over the world. So how is the role of a tech partner changing, right, to maximize innovation and efficiency? And what has that looked like from your experience? So I'll start with you, David.
Yeah, when we think about these tech partner relationships, historically it's been body count per dollar efficiency ratios. It's not terribly interesting, and honestly, it's just not very effective. As we think about the future with the digital transformation and the requirements of our businesses, there's a good book, A Good to Great, where they talk about you can only really focus on 3 things as a business. I don't think that's enough. And the vendor relationships allow us to potentially offer thought partnership and have groups like FPT really think about, hey, can you take this problem and really think forward on it so we can focus on the 3 most obvious ones, which will allow businesses to further innovate and further experiment, because the future of digital transformation is not just following a couple paths, it's pulling a whole bunch of threads. It's finding all of the different ways and really experimenting. And I think thought leadership, partnership models are really going to drive that. And that's going to allow us to all survive in these fragile ecosystems.
Yeah. Frank, I'm going to go to you because you represent the tech partners. What are your thoughts?
No, and I will continue on the comment here from the gentleman. I think that vendors really need to adapt, especially in the ecosystem that we have now. Traditionally, we had a lot of vendors that were quite transactional based. So we have few projects and we are just executing on a transactional base. And we see that now vendors have to move much more into co-innovation and also strategic about partnership. Strategic can mean a lot of things, but basically it means sharing the same problem and see how we can help our customer to move into their transformation, solve the challenges on specific domain. We see some big corporations doing that. So quite recently, IBM separated with Kyndryl, and now they are really focusing on bringing this innovation, developing platform ecosystem, AI, and so on. We see that we have to embrace quite a lot of different technology to be able to do that, from IoT, cloud data, and so on, to be able to bring this also into this innovation and to become more, I would say, a kind of a buddy, if I can use this term, of our customer than a pure transactional partners. A good experience that we had, because originally before joining FPT Software, I was also in Airbus. So I can see it from the vendor now as FPT Software, but also as the customer when I was in Airbus. Many years ago, in fact, Airbus decided with FPT Software to create this kind of partnership to revolutionize a little bit the aviation domain by creating this huge platform. And it was a bet, and the bet, in fact, was very successful. FPT did a lot of things to succeed, supported a lot of Airbus, it went up and down, but at the end now we see that there is a platform that Airbus is operating where you have almost 50% of all the airline worldwide aviation aircraft that are on this platform, more than 10,000 of aircraft now flying on that, and still developing more advanced capabilities, developing also skills. So now in FPT, we are working not only with Airbus, but in a lot of different projects on the aviation. So this co-innovation, this co-development in a strategic way, help both companies at the same time to develop and to develop the market. And this is the future, I think, for all the vendor relationship.
Thank you. Now I want to ask a question about the levers that leaders can pull, right? And I'm going to go to you, David, to create a culture of agility, right? And customer centricity. You've been there. What can we do better?
Yeah, when we think about levers as leaders, I think it's really important to be cautious of using levers. The whole idea, if you go back and you think about waterfall and agility, it's really about bottoms-up innovation. So I actually don't think about it as levers we can pull, but ways that we can get out of the way of our thought workers to really drive innovation, drive the future. And so what are the enablers, or what are the ways that we create very broad containers within, or guardrails within them to run, and run fast? And so maybe that's the lever, is being able to actually construct it in such a way that they can just run full force. It was said earlier by Alex, Agile is not a technology process. It's actually got to go all throughout. And as we think about engaging with partners, all of the different ways that we engage, it's just we've got to enable ourselves to go as fast as possible.
Yeah, I recall a CIO once told me that running at speed, right, at an agile speed, once the organization gets it right, IT sort of like partners with the business, and each one is motivated like a mini Steve Jobs, in his own words, right, to imagine the art of the possible. Akihito, any comments?
Yes. I'd like to talk about 2 points to the culture on agility and the customer-centric. The company always take the HIPPO's opinion, highly paid person's opinion. So data-driven management is one of the key things to focusing on the customer-centric part. But second point is more important, autonomous agile teams. So empowering those kind of team motivation, that is a really important thing. Team itself always centralized, always focus on the customer things. So empowering those things, that is the key, I believe.
Thank you. We are going to Frank. What are the characteristics of businesses that have successfully scaled, right, beyond these individual projects and scaled throughout the enterprise, some of these DX initiatives?
That's a difficult question. And I don't know if there is I would say, a recipes that everybody can apply, but we can see few characteristics for some of those companies. At the beginning, what is very important is to have, I believe, a digital first and business-oriented strategy. That it should be clear that from the top management that the company has to go digital and has to succeed in this way, and that this is even sometimes a life or death move that they have to go. And we see this during the COVID for many companies and so on. And some study have proved that more than 64, I think, or 65% of companies that are really focused on digital first strategy are more successful than their other peer in that domain. Then organization should be agile. So you have agile organization, you have scale agile, you have a gazelle organization, tribe organization. This is very important to empower not only the management, but to empower the people, like I was mentioning, and to have these teams of teams, and to make sure that we have an environment where everybody feels safe to innovate, safe to take risk, safe to fail, but learn also from this failure. This is very important because transformation at one point of the time is scary because we are changing things. So you have to have this safe environment and this agile organization that will help that. Leveraging all the technology that is available, digital technology that are mature, this is very important because you have to go fast. So you need to move fast with that respect. And another point is also upskilling, because you will transform a company, but you still have the same workforce. So you need also to look at your workforce, upskill them. And there was some study that said that most, I think it was 40% or plus companies that say we don't have the skills today. So looking at how you will upskill these people, there is some new job that will happen in the next 10 years that we even don't know today. So having a continuous learning, continuous upskilling in the company is important. So mixing those kind of, I would say, small ingredient in your recipes will help company to be able to scale fast and to do this kind of transformation by involving all the different organizations inside your company. So not only focus on one organization, but really involving the full corporate.
Mm-hmm. David, any thoughts?
You know, it ends up being, you said it really well, but I think the key is just making sure that you're willing to experiment, willing to actually truly be agile, and figure out what things are preventing you as a company from behaving in the ways that you expect to succeed. I think sometimes we get over-focused on what is our strategy, where we're going. We don't ask the question, in the here and now, what is preventing me from being successful in the future, and really just kind of honing in on that enabler and inhibitor behavior.
Yeah, thank you. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to wrap this up with one last question directed to Tuan Pham. And the question is, what are the key skills, right, and traits of the modern workforce, and how are enterprises sourcing for them?
All right, so very standard requirements is about strong technologies and good communication. It's like a precondition. It's not enough. So in order to do the transformation, it's require like the open mindset, the collaboration, and something like adaptive culture. So it means aligns the culture with the goal from a business perspective. And I believe no company want to have very long transformation. So speed and scalabilities are very crucial. So that's why the country like Vietnam or FPT have some advantage in this game, because like our people are very young and they're not too busy for legacy system. So we can put all of our top talent into the transformation game. So that's why, for example, in the Cox case, we can scale from 0 to 1,000 people within 6 months. That's amazing speed. And I think that every company needs that speed for their transformation. The second is about our Vietnam education system. We have very good education system in terms of STEM, science, math. It's very good for doing technologies business. And our FPT, we have our own university. So we can customize our curriculum. So that's our engineer. They can work for the industry right after they graduate. So for example, nowadays, Dr. Ben talk about automotive, about semiconductor. So we just established semiconductor faculty a few months ago to get our people ready for the new industry. We will be coming to Vietnam very soon. So that's a very important factor.
Yeah, if I could add to that. The skills that everyone needs, engineering, data science, these are technical skills. In the Western world, a lot of these markets are tapped out in terms of the talent. And in the US, for example, we graduate something like 200,000 engineers a year. China, on the other hand, graduates something like 1.2 million. In South Korea, there's, I believe, 1 in 5 students graduates with an engineering degree. In the US, 1 in 20. So I always say people either want to work in Wall Street or Hollywood, get rich quick and retire in the US. But what's interesting I did a little bit of research because I'm sort of still on my East Coast New York body clock last night, and looked on LinkedIn. Just within the US, there's over 200,000 openings for engineering jobs. And on LinkedIn, there's over 500,000 data scientist jobs that are available. So the point being, what we're seeing here in Asia, that there's a real opportunity for talent. I think that leading organizations understand that it is a global talent pool. It's a global workforce today. Just to add something, I did, in doing some more of my research, Vietnam, Indonesia are 2 of the top 10 markets now in terms of engineering graduates. So how about that?
Thank you.
So I think leading companies understand it, and this is how they define their competitive advantage.
It's great that you ended on that note, because I recall in your presentation you talked about Michael Porter.
Yes.
And the competitive advantage of nations, if not, looking at the barriers, of entry and, threat of the suppliers as well.
Yes.
And I kind of help that FPT has done a great job, right, in integrating the supply chain backwards from a skills perspective with their own university. So, job well done there. Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time and your contribution to this panel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well,